Hello and welcome back to another video. Please excuse the voice, it seems like I'm losing it. Just so happened that as I was preparing for July and Camp Nano, I also needed to do some planning for Q3 of this year. In my last video, you can see me planning out how I would spend the month, partially for ApexThis. While I didn't record the planning session for Q3, this video is the result of that work and how I update the non-planner things for digital storage and calendar management. The tools you see here are Fantastical, a pay-for calendar app that I just absolutely love. Notion, I use as a documentation hub for varying projects and tracking things throughout my life, business, or otherwise. And lastly, Trello, which is my action hub. This syncs cards to my calendar and allows me to keep track of things when I am away from the planner. And now that you know the digital tools that I use in my planning, let's go ahead and get started. Here's just a quick look at a near complete template of what it kind of looks like with books and everything else. So we are just going to go ahead and hop into July. As you can see, it's empty. We're going to fill it out with everything that we decided in our planning session. How I decide what to fill out is based on my yearly plan. At the end of the year, I look at what I want to accomplish and break it down into quarterly milestones. This year, nearing midway through, everything was upended, so I had to refocus the remainder of 2020 and readjust my quarters. If you have not done this before, it is going to be hard to get started, but it's pretty easy once you lay the foundation. Here I am changing goals to focus. This terminology change evokes a different way of thinking for me about the things I want to complete. A goal is just a task with a deadline. They're good, but focus invokes the word process. When I think about focus, I have to think about the process. So if my primary focus is Project Dollar for Camp NaNoWriMo, then that means I need to ensure that my process allows me to focus on that project, and that process is writing. In my view, process will always be greater than goals. As you will see, this monthly page in Notion is a mixture between business and personal things. So I like to track my workout, and as you can see, writing log, and even the books I read. As this will be for July, I'm simply going to change the filter to look at anything that I log for the month of July. I also do have the writing log template shareable. If you want to track your own writing projects, your word count, and your time, I like to see how many words that I've written per project, per month, per quarter, per year. I kind of like getting that data. So I will have that in the link to that writing log template in the description below. I do the same for my bookshelf. Of course, everyone has a Goodreads account. but I like to track the particular books that I'm reading throughout the month, mixed in with my other projects and everything else. I too have this template shared, and I actually list my bookshelf publicly. At the moment, it is incomplete, but I'm compiling all of my Excel book tracking for the stuff that I have into this bookshelf, and I'll update them with things that I link to, such as any book reviews that I wrote and everything else. But that's kind of something extra. I will have a link to the bookshelf and the template in the description below. As I track my time and I look at the calendar, I also want to note any time estimations for each of these projects. In the last video in planning Camp NaNoWriMo, we broke down how many hours or sprints I would need to write to meet my word count. So I've extracted that into time for hours for the month. And each month in the quarter, I have my available hours. And if you're interested in that, I'll probably do a separate video on how to find your capacity or your team's capacity if you are working with a co-writer or anyone else. But I found my capacity for the quarter and I broke it down monthly, and looking at each of the tasks or areas that I wanted to focus on for the month, I estimated how much time it would take to produce those things. Therefore, I can see how much or where I needed to put it on my calendar. With the workout in mind, I'm just going to do a rough estimation for each of the chapters I had listed for Project Dollar's Trello board, and I'm just going to assign some dates to them. They're going to be random, as I'm simply going off of just estimations of what I would like to have completed. But for the project for Camp NaNoWriMo, I'm focused on word count, and everything else is just an aside. So I will go ahead and get those filled out, and so they can appear on my calendar. In Trello, once you add a due date to a card, and if you add the calendar power up to your board, you'll be able to get this little view here on the board itself. But a great thing to do is to then take the settings for the calendar power app, grab the calendar feed, enable synchronization, and then add it to your personal calendar to track going forward. So those due dates would, at those particular time that you've assigned for that card, will synchronize and appear on your calendar. So I'm just going to move some of my UX design training stuff off onto another date. I definitely know that I will not be working on these items for July. I'm going to have some time off in August, in which I will spend time focusing on UX training. So we'll go ahead and remove those to tighten up that projects list. Now, what I'm going to do here, my templates change. I'm just going to copy everything that I did here and apply it to the other months that I already created. While the template was already blank, I wanted to get some of the changes I already applied. And since I planned the quarter, I already know the things at the time of the session of what I will be focusing on for August and September. And now that the months are done, I'm going to go in and modify the base template so that my tweaks can take effect for everything else I create going forward. And while I'm getting everything set up, I'm going to go ahead and create a publishing template from my mixtape project. And this is actually a template I just grabbed from the Trello template gallery. So it wasn't one I created, but I really liked the structure of this and just detail that it had compared to the one that I had created for Project Dollar. So I'm going to rename this to keep it to the writing portion if I want to track the particular details of chapters and things of that nature when writing and or editing the chapters. And then I'll have this larger template for the process overall. And now that we have the new board, I am going to go ahead and add the calendar power up, enable synchronization, and subscribe to it on my calendar. Now to add a few more documentation pieces to the Notion project table. And that's it. That's everything. Hopefully you've been able to enjoy this behind the scenes look at someone entering in their Q3 plans, primarily for July, in their digital version of their planner and the tools that I use. I know it seems a little bit hectic, but the quarterly planning along with your monthly planning and weekly planning sometimes don't align in a very good spot. But I figure I would take this opportunity to show you a little bit of what that looked like using Fantastical, which I absolutely love, Notion, which is a workhorse for my documentation, and Trello. This is my action hub, syncing to my calendars and just keeping me on top of everything with its reminders, access on the web, my tablet, and phone. That's going to be it for this video. Thank you for tuning in. And if you stuck through this far, very appreciated. If there's anything else you would like to see or any questions, be sure to pop those in the comments below, and I will try to get to them and answer them as best I can. If you're writing for Camp Nano, I hope you are having a fantastic time. If not, it's okay. You're writing, or at least that's what I tell myself. That's it. You all have a fantastic day wherever you are. Fantastic night. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next one. Until next time.